rejection of, and resistance to, the pernicious commodification of contemporary life. Forced to leave school at age 14 out of economic necessity, Walser apprenticed as a bank clerk in his native Biel, while harboring dreams of becoming an actor. After moving to Zurich to work in the bookkeeping division of an insurance firm, he published his first poems and then quit his job to devote himself to writing. Soon after his first book, Fritz Kocha's Essays, appeared, he moved to Berlin to join his older brother Karl, an artist and stage set designer. The two became notorious for their antics and boisterous conduct, a pair of enfants terribles, living large among the creative spirits of prelapsarian Berlin, a hotbed of literacy and cultural activity. Thanks to his brother, Walser was welcomed into lofty artistic circles, but he felt ill at ease in high society, which he rebelled against by enrolling in butler school, scandalizing his artistic peers. Even after beginning to perform as a writer by producing novels, 3 in rapid succession that were well received by critics, including Musil, his books failed to reach a wider audience. They were too quirky, too seemingly modest, too Swiss. And while his short prose was admired by fellow writers, Kafka loved reading Walser aloud. The young dreamer was soon a has-been with writer's block. He retreated back to Switzerland in defeat. Robert Walser's true career begins here. As his dream of literary stardom fizzled, he began to experiment with short prose forms that, over the next 2 decades, developed into the high modernist masterpieces that became his signature achievement. Taking the feuilleton-style essay as his starting point, he layered on strata of descriptive flourish and metaphor until he'd constructed elaborate edifices around the simplest topics interwoven with fictional elements, such that it was impossible to tell where essay ended and story began. Walser's protagonists include children, social outcasts, artists, the impoverished, the marginalized, and the forgotten. All these figures have a penchant for speaking in remarkably erudite, well-crafted, and above all, lengthy sentences whose complexity and intelligence belie the ostensible insignificance of those who utter them. An astute observer of power differentials, he writes of servants whose employers cower inwardly before them because they understand that their dominance is precarious and must be either voluntarily acknowledged or physically enforced. Thus, the powerful find themselves desiring and depending on their subordinates' goodwill. But if nurturing a desire of any sort means surrendering power, Walser describes such renunciation as a joyful, empowering act. Irony permeates Walser's universe. Not, however, the sardonic and occasionally sarcastic sort famously associated, for example, with Thomas Mann. Walserian irony is a different Weltanschauung altogether. Juxtaposing modesty with stunning verbal opulence, Walser's words ascend from the terrain they purport to map, taking flight and sketching such mesmerizing arabesques that a sentence's ostensible meaning becomes the least important thing about it. Walser's prose pieces spiral around their topics, amassing observations, thoughts, and insights until all human history appears contained in the simple act of, say, looking at a picture. The thick texture of his prose foregrounds the writing itself, his syntactical and semantic complexity reflecting the jangling, anxiety-ridden, euphoric spirit of the modern age. His later narratives are characterized by abrupt changes of topic and direction. A new phrase might be prompted by a rhyme that provokes an association or a metaphor that sparks its own sub-narrative. His winding sentences parody bureaucratic German by filling in structures.